Hey, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Sell More Book Show, episode 634. I'm Brian Cohen from Best Page Forward. Very, very happy to see you. We've got a lot of wonderful, wonderful people here. Charity May, Elle, Leanna, Patty. We saw Lucy. We saw Becca, Kevin, Kathleen, Paul, all these amazing, wonderful people here. I love getting to do this show live. We're doing it live on Tuesdays at 1 o'clock Eastern. The summer vacation may throw a couple of wrenches in there, but we will do what we can with it. So here's the thing, y'all. I was talking about this during the pre-show. I want to let you guys on the show who are listening to the show know about this. On and around July 7th, I am launching a Kickstarter campaign for my new book, Booked for Life, which is for coaches, course creators, agency owners who are trying to get more clients. And it's about writing a book to fill your calendar with those kinds of folks. But the Kickstarter is actually going to be for both nonfiction and fiction authors. There's going to be lots of fun perks in there for you guys. I think you're going to love it. I think that you are going to be excited to be a part of it. And there are going to be so many cool little rewards, and we're going to have webinars, and it's going to be a blast. So look out for that coming at you around July 7th. We will let you know when the pre-launch page is up so that you can follow the campaign. So let's go into the previous week's question, which is, where do you believe your readers hang out? And what is the one step you can take to connect more with them in that location? Patrick O'Connor says, seems like they have been hanging out where they can't join my mailing list since 2023 or 2024, trying to troubleshoot that with MailerLite. Yes, I was just talking to an author who actually does very, very well for themselves, but mailing lists have never been a strong push for her. And I highly recommended that she definitely make an effort to always be putting in some attention into that mailing list, because that attention into the mailing list over time will make a huge difference. Dharma Kelleher said, I have no idea where my readers hang out. They're probably on TikTok, but that rapid fire short video blast of a social medium makes my ADHD brain squirrels go crazy. So here's the thing. I definitely know that some genres do hang out on TikTok. Not every genre hangs out on TikTok, but some genres definitely do hang out on TikTok. And I think that it's important to note that if at some point you get to the point where you're earning enough from your books, I know a lot of people who hire out the TikTok. As I knock out my power cord. Don't worry, I've got the battery, but that dim screen really got to me. I think that when you get to a certain point, it may make sense to even just getting someone to post a couple of posts a month is better than nothing. So keep that in mind, Dharma. And Bethany Tucker says, my readers are on Facebook, as does Kathleen mentions this in the live here. Bethany says, my readers are on Facebook in reader groups. My readers are also at romance reader conventions. So far, there have been financial and physical distance issues to overcome to reach them there. Well, then I would absolutely focus, Bethany, on those Facebook groups. Be in those Facebook groups. Participate in those Facebook groups, not in a spammy way. But if you cannot make the distance and the financial things happen with going to those reader conventions, but they are also in these Facebook groups, and that's where we want to focus. That is where we want to focus. So great stuff. This episode's sponsor is our Groundbreakers Author Mastermind. And we've got a couple of people like Kathleen who are here in the audience who are in the Groundbreakers Author Mastermind. If you see over on the Facebook post, if you're on Facebook, you can actually see a link to a book a call calendar where you can actually talk to a member of our team about if joining our 6-month mastermind known as the Groundbreakers Author Mastermind might be right for you. I just found out today that we have a very recent success story, hot off the presses, where an author who had never, prior to Groundbreakers, had never earned $100 a month from their book royalties are now at over $1,000 a month. And I love this. Like, we are trying to exist in this space where you might be an author who's had 15 books, who's had 20 books, who's had more books, but it's never really come together. It's never really gelled. Groundbreakers is the gel. The group coaching, the one-on-one coaching, the extra materials you get, the sessions with me that you get. We just love getting to put this on for folks. Anita here, who is in Groundbreaker, says, I hesitated to join, but jumped in. It was the best choice I ever made. I love that, Anita. Thank you so much for trusting us. It's hard. There's a lot of weirdos out there. There's a lot of funky businesses, but we have been around here since 2016 was when we officially incorporated. We've been here for 10 years, and we're not going anywhere. And so we love getting to put on Groundbreakers for y'all. Go check that out. If you're not on the Facebook, if you don't see it at the Somewhere Book Show website, just email us, Brian, Bryan, at sellingforauthors.com. Drop us a line. We'll get you the calendar link. And you can talk to us about if you think Groundbreakers might be a good way for you to boost those royalties. So very exciting stuff. All right, my friends, let's go into the story of the week. The unofficial 5th format. Are deluxe hardcovers the new fast fashion? Special edition hardcovers seem to have become the unofficial 5th format these days, especially when it comes to romance, fantasy, and romantasy titles, according to Publishers Weekly. The trend gained popularity with book boxes, but now publishers themselves are cashing in on the trend. Quote, in the last few years, trend-forward romance and fantasy imprints like Entangled Publishing and Bramble Books have made it standard practices to issue deluxe hardcover editions for a title's first print run, says Matt Holland, founder of Broken Binding Fantasy Boxes, in an interview with Publishers Weekly. And now the practice has become so commonplace that Holland is calling special editions the 5th format alongside trade paperback, hardcover, audio, and ebook. While many devotees of special editions still collect them, some readers are starting to lose interest, reports Publishers Weekly's Sam Spratford. Quote, beyond it being expensive, I got tired of all the books looking the same, said one former collector. With technologies adapting, many deluxe editions are mass-produced imitations of artisanal printing. Quote, most special editions from U.S. companies are made in China, home of Shein and Temu, says Spratford. Holland, whose business was built on book boxes containing special editions, suspects this bubble will pop. Quote, there's no way that the industry will be able to sustain the amount of special editions that are coming out at the moment. There's just too many options. People will lose interest at some point. End quote. So here's the thing. I do think that there could be a special edition bubble. I do think that there is a chance that if everyone has a special edition, they won't be special anymore. Of course. Any trend, and you could make the case that audiobook was a trend and German translation was a trend. The first movers are almost always going to be the ones who get the biggest benefit. And then there will be people who are early adopters and they still get a good benefit. And then there's kind of everybody else. And so you do have to keep this in mind. Does that mean your book needs a special edition or doesn't need a special edition? I mean, I think that they cost a decent amount of money to print enough to make it worthwhile per copy. So you absolutely need to consider this. You cannot just say, well, so-and-so successful author, and we've had some of them on the show, have a special edition. So we need a special edition. Not necessarily. And I think this bubble talk is interesting. It might not be a bubble, but will people make less money off special editions on average than maybe the first people did 2 or 3 years ago? Yes, because there's more of them and traditional publishers are putting them out more rapidly. So let's see. We got some hot potatoes of wisdom questions. My readers have been asking for a special edition. How do I know if the demand for it truly justifies the time, cost, and energy it will take to produce one? This is why I'm a big fan of Kickstarter, because if you do it on something like a crowdfunding campaign like Kickstarter, if it doesn't fund, you know that there is demand for it within your audience, and if it doesn't fund, then you know that there might not be demand. So that is worth considering. By the way, you guys may hear the occasional poof of a nail gun because they're putting in new siding into our house. Another question. Is there really a special edition? If there really is special edition saturation, what can I do to make mine truly special? What I see people doing in places like TikTok Shop is including some personalized touches, some special bookmarks, some special little squishy guys, some special extras, but that takes time. And it goes back to the time and energy question of justifying, which is why I like the crowdfunding component. And then the last question here, how can I produce a special edition that doesn't just end up another print-on-demand option in my store or book page? I mean, making it a limited run thing, a limited run signed thing is one way to make it really stand out. But, I mean, you definitely want to make sure that if you're going to put in the time and the energy, Al says, you could hand bind your own book. Need a new hobby? Exactly. Like if you're going to put in the time and the energy to this, you want to make it a big focus. You know, you don't want to just make it a side project that then takes up 40 hours. You know, you really want to make sure that if you're going to focus on this, you're going to focus on it hard. So a couple of thoughts here in the chat. Jeffrey Mason said, my opinion, the article misses that special editions are being sold to your super fans, not the general book buying world. That is a great point, Jeffrey. I think that these folks who collect things are not necessarily your people who read a bunch of stuff on Kindle Unlimited. These are different people. They're not your people who are just going to buy the cheapest possible paperback they can find. They are the super fans, which is why I love these for things like, things like Kickstarter, because you're finding and connecting with your super fans. And so great point there, Jeffrey. Jeffrey, who also mentions Groundbreakers didn't just break new ground for my publishing company. It put it on a whole new planet. Oh, thank you so much, Jeffrey. Checking our sponsor once again. And then Deborah says there are a ton of knowledgeable individuals and personalized support in Groundbreakers. Loving all the Groundbreakers love here on the live. I promise these are not plants. They are humans. They are not plants. They are humans. All right, let's go into the lightning round here. We've got the lightning round. First question. Writing is my hobby, not my career, so I'm struggling to justify spending money on my books, but I also want my books to be read. So what can I do? I am a big fan of the old startup concept, the minimum viable product. So we have to think about, well, what goes into an MVP for a self-published book? We want a decent cover. I think that a pre-made cover done by a really good designer is a good middle ground. We really want it to be edited, but we might not be able to spend $2,500 on a legitimate good edit. So maybe we use a software plus some beta readers plus maybe like a $500 to $700 proofreader. What else can we spend less on? I mean, Amazon ads, you really only need to spend as much as you're making. If you see that it's 2 to 1 and you earn 2 to 1, maybe putting $50 in a month gets you to $100. And so I think you want to find compromises, and you want to make sure that every single purchase you make, you have some good justified reason for doing it. I think it needs to make sense. You can't just do it for FOMO, for keeping up with the Joneses. You need to be really, really smart. And look, back in the day, back in the early days, I would barter, I would trade things. And it's not something I need to do at this point in my career, but it's absolutely something you can consider doing. Let's go to the second question here. I've been hearing about using walking as a creative practice, but I feel guilty when I'm not writing. Now what? Okay. Walking. I walk every single day. I use it to get in a good headspace. I use it to think my thoughts. But I also have the benefit of running my own business, and I have some people that do some things for me that would otherwise take time, and that is some privilege that I can't ignore. And so how do you justify, when you have a limited amount of time, how do you justify this kind of physical fitness and mental headspace clearing activity? I think it is likely to make your writing time more efficient. Think about, and just kind of maybe be present the next time you're writing. How much time are you staring at the screen because you're tired or because your brain isn't working? If you go on a 15-minute walk ahead of time, you sit down after maybe a light stretch, I'm guessing that the writing is going to flow better, and that 15 minutes, that time is going to be valuable for you. What do you guys think? Those of you out there on the live, how do you fit in your writing, your walking prior to your writing? I would love to know. Third question. What non-writing, non-marketing courses, books, or programs would authors find helpful? Y'all, it's all about the mindset. When I'm talking to folks in my Pathfinders program, my folks making over $2,500 a month in royalties, who I personally coach, and if you know someone in that realm who joins Pathfinders, I would give you a commission. But when I am talking to these folks and they are looking at growing, the first non-writing, non-marketing thing they need to do is think about their mindset. And so I could mention some mindset type books or programs that I think have made the biggest difference for me, but I think every person is a little bit different. Everybody is a little bit different. The things that resonated for me, including the book Happy for No Reason by Marcy Shimoff, including like Think and Grow Rich, including Rich as F by Amanda Francis. Like, these kind of books helped my mindset, and they have helped me to earn significantly more money and to build a significantly better book-based business than I ever would have been able to make without that mindset work. So I 100% recommend start making time for mindset work and mindset reading every day, but you're going to want to experiment with books that work for you, because you and I are different people. And so different books are going to fit for me than they do for you. Some folks had some comments on the walking. Charity May said, my dog makes me do it. It's one of his jobs. He bugs me to take him until we go. If laptop comes out, he insists we walk first. So there we go. Just hire a well-trained dog to get you walking. Paul says the walking time is kind of the writing time. He plays with the plot and rethinks scenes as he walks. That's brilliant. And then Dolly says, I usually fit my walking in around lunchtime as well as in the evenings. I love the 2 a day. I love the 2 a day there. All right, next question here in the lightning round. How can I be more okay with the instability in this industry and not spiral or feel catastrophic when a launch doesn't go well? Y'all, here's the thing. I have talked about this in relation to a sales page, but there is something to be said about the multiplier effect. Yes, there's instability. Yes, you can do lots of good things and a launch still not go well. But why is that? Is that generally because of the instability of the industry? Or is there something we can formularize? That's not a word. We can make into a formula related to this. Formulate, I think, is what I was looking for. Formularize sounds really great. If you have something in your book or your launch that is a 0, your launch will be a 0. It's a multiplier effect. If you do all the right things to reach your readers and advertise to reach strangers, but your book is not good or the cover is not good, it's going to be a 0. I really think most of the time that if you do the right things and nothing in your catalog, nothing related to the launch is a 0, you are going to be pretty good. And you just need to grow the things that you're doing that work the best. Those are my 2 cents. I think that, yes, there's instability. As Anita points out, every industry has instability. But if a launch didn't go well, more often than not, you can suss out the reasoning. There is a reason behind it. There absolutely is. And I think we just need to realize that. There could be instability, but chances are, if you can figure out, detective, reverse engineer the reason that something isn't working or that didn't work, that's going to help you for next time. I wanted to point out, Melinda said, one of the best non-writing things I did was learn more about business and running a small business. It helped to shift my mindset without losing my love for the craft. I love that, Melinda. Great point there over on the Instagram. All right, let's go into the 5th and final. A lot of authors romanticize the full-time writer life. What's the reality you wish more of them understood before they made the leap? And we can't help but point out that I saw Becca Syme posting about this. Roland Denzel gets our story notes together. So, you put 2 and 2 together. But here's the thing. As I don't put on my focus and then I get a ting. Boo. Boo is all I have to say to that. Focus mode is on. Okay. So what do I wish folks understood before they made the full-time author leap? I think the biggest thing I would say is that just because you have more time doesn't mean you're going to get more done. Just because you have more time does not necessarily mean you're going to get more done. There are still going to be challenges with your time. There are going to be restrictions. There's going to be things that you have to consider. And you might not, by suddenly getting 6 hours a day instead of 2 hours a day, you're not suddenly going to triple everything. It's not really how it works because we have limitations. We are humans having a human experience. We have limitations. And so I really just want to emphasize that you need to keep your expectations in perspective. So as I hear drilling and stuff on the side of my house, let's go into the question of the week, which I want to go into the walking question. So what do you do to make sure you move your body every single day? What do you do on a daily basis to make sure you move your body to help your creative process? You can answer the question of the week over at the Sell More Book Show website, over at the Sell More Book Show After Party Facebook group. Really everywhere fine questions are asked. Folks, I'm very, very excited about what we have coming up. Very excited about the Kickstarter coming up. Very excited about the book I'm writing. Very tired because of the book I'm writing, but that's okay. We will live with that. I'm just going to name check our sponsor one more time. Groundbreakers Author Mastermind has been really, really helpful for allowing folks who have struggled to get those royalties up to figure out, well, what is the thing it goes back to that multiplier question. What is the thing that's a 0 that I can figure out so that I can start to grow and improve and succeed? It has been great seeing everybody on the live. Really appreciate it. Remember, you can come by on Tuesdays and I do this thing live at around 1 o'clock Eastern. we'll have normal time the next couple weeks and then some craziness for when we're out of town. But I love you guys. Thank you for listening. I hope you have a great week of book selling, everybody. And we'll talk to you next week for episode 635. Bye, everybody.